Welcome to the first of the weapon guides of System Shock 2 Bits and Extras. We're going to start with standard weapons, along with a little extra, which is the wrench, which is technically not a standard weapon, but yeah, you get the point. All the demonstrations for the weapons and psi-amp powers will be demonstrated in the gym of Recreation Deck, so sit back and enjoy, and I'll go into much detail as possible about each of the weapons I'm about to show you. Today we're showing the wrench, shotgun, pistol, and assault rifle. Off to the gym. For the first weapons demonstration of this episode, we have the wrench. So, here we go. A multi-purpose tool generally used for engineering purposes. However, it makes an effective makeshift weapon. When you hit someone over the head with 22 pounds of steel, they tend not to appreciate it. Taz, Amapor, VP, Maintenance Crew. The wrench doesn't require any weapon skill to use, so right off the bat you can use it against any enemy you come across. Not only that, but obviously it's pretty easy to use. I mean, all you really do is swing it. Against the usual hybrid, with high enough strength, it saves a lot of ammo. Next up on the list is the pistol, our trusty little sidearm. Let's see. Developed by Tri-Optimum's military division, the Talon M2 A3.45 caliber pistol is a standard issue sidearm provided to all UNM military personnel. After 23 years in service, the weapon has been designed to accept a number of kinds of ammunition, including the standard steel-jacketed rounds, uranium-tipped armor-piercing rounds, and even a slug injected with a compressed napalm mixture. In order to use it, you need at least one standard weapon skill to use, and being one of the more common weapons, it's not too hard to find. Also, it's probably one of the more useful weapons to attain, since it can use 3 different types of ammunition, all of which obviously have a variety of uses. Let's demonstrate. First, let's use regular standard rounds. Just your everyday pistol round, basically. This is fairly average damage. Against a hybrid, it's pretty deadly, but against bigger enemies, not so much. Let's demonstrate one of the special rounds before I get to that, though. Armor piercing. As its name suggests, it's good against anything with heavy armor. In other words, big bots. To demonstrate, let's go ahead and summon a Sparky. Just a minute. There we go. Now, as you might have already guessed, armor piercing rounds are more rare than standard rounds, obviously, though not as rare as anti-personal rounds. This is probably due to the fact that they're specialized and that they can take down these kinds of foes rather quickly. And this might take a while, but I'm going to be switching to standard rounds again and showing another demonstration with a Sparky to show a clear difference of just how useful AP bullets are when used against robotic foes and how not so useful standard ammunition is against robotic foes. Observe. Right now, the robot should already be dead. 4 bullets would have done the trick, but Sparky proves to be able to take almost more than an entire clip of standard ammunition. Now, let's summon our Rumbler. Now, against the Rumbler, standard ammunition is near useless, pretty much. Especially if you're using simple single fire. As you can tell, it takes more ammunition, time, and quite a lot of risk-taking just to take on this one enemy with regular standard bullets. You have to also take into consideration how much damage it's doing to my own gun. I mean, the condition's probably getting worn down pretty considerably. So, although it is important to conserve your special ammunition, it's important to also use it for other reasons, like to conserve the condition of your weapon. Now then, I'm going to demonstrate the secondary fire mode, the burst fire mode, with anti-personal rounds. This time against the rumbler again, but this time you're going to see quite a difference. Big difference, ain't it? Went down in like 3 seconds. This last demonstration of the pistol should show you a clear difference between an unmodified and a modified pistol. This is unmodified. About 3 to 4 bullets. Now let's fully modify it. Oh look, Sparky's brothers come for revenge! And he went down even easier than the first. And that about sums up the whole pistol demonstration. Let's take a good look at an old classic weapon of choice, the shotgun. The shotgun requires a standard weapon skill of 3 in order to use. Both modifications to the shotgun increase damage. The first also reduces reload time, while the second reduces kickback. Shotguns in the military had generally gone out of favor until Triopticon Super Division introduced a handheld version of this 10-gauge monster. While it works like a traditional, but incredibly deadly shotgun, this magazine-loaded behemoth also supports a triple-load shot, which has been known to split its victims in two. A few months after its introduction, its popularity with hunters and other weapons enthusiasts prompted a large-scale purchase of the guns by the UNN military. And thus we got our hands on one of the most badass shotguns in the history of video games. Look at that. It is so out there. With the little auto pumper, this thing is awesome. And our first victim of choice will be the Windwife, of course. Able to take down a midwife in just 3 shots. Although the kickback could be a little bit, more tolerable. Now let's test out the pellets. These are more useful against organic enemies, obviously. So let's test it against this rumbler. Truth be told, pellets are not as useful as slugs, but if you shoot them from a distance, the pellets can actually do surprising damage, and they can also attack more than one enemy at a time. So they're not entirely useless, and I'd rather use them rather than just get rid of them. Let's test out that triple shot that they talked about so much in the description. Against my favorite victim of all, of course. Didn't do as much damage as I hoped. Killed it quickly, though. Now then. This is where the pellets shouldn't be used. As you can clearly see, they barely do jack shit against my most hated enemy. Yada yada, this is taking so long. Already gone through an entire clip. So yeah, do not waste pellets, don't even bother using them against robotic foes. That's just a cyborg assassin. Use that thing against a big bot, you're completely screwed. So yeah, don't waste the slugs. Trust me, you're gonna need them. Otherwise, my dear viewers, you will not get to share in the satisfaction of killing these annoying bastards like this. And just to rub it in, let's set it to triple, shall we? Oh yes. Dead even faster. However, this uses more ammunition than the usual method, so use it sparingly if you really do need to kill them faster. I know, I'm a total abuser, but I needed a quick comparison between unmodified and modified. And of course, our little example is the Cyborg Assassin, just because I hate them that much. Now then, let's test this out, fully modified. This guy's annoying. A 1 shell difference. Here's one for good measure. And here's the last weapon for today's demonstration, the assault rifle. The assault rifle requires a strength of 2 and a standard weapon skill of 6 in order to use. It uses the same ammunition as a pistol, but has a much bigger clip and does 25% more damage. Both modifications to the assault rifle increase the damage. The first mod reduces reload time, and the second mod increases the clip size. Well loved by grunts everywhere, the M22 assault rifle is a good entry into the world of automatic rifles. Rapid fire keeps vulnerable enemies down, and the single shot mode is good for accuracy. Armor penetration and damage potential are both moderate. When used for heavy automatic fire, the aim point tends to wander fairly far. The design by committee nature of the unit, however, has led to some questions regarding its reliability. When the rail launcher rounds were spent, when the auto mines were bypassed, when the neuron acceleration field was neutralized, the men still had their M22s and their gunpowder, and by God, they used them to good effect. Captain Edward Diego commenting on the defense of Boston Harbor. And thus, the most useful weapon in the entire game. Let's test it out. Standard against the robotic. As you can clearly see, even the single fire is much faster than the pistol's fire rate, and the 25% boost is obviously apparent. Now let's test out AP. Abracadabra! Fusion bot! Now then, I'm sure you all noticed, that was AP against the Fusion Bot. Only 4 shots, whereas standard against the Sparky took more than 4. Just keep that in mind. Now let's test out HE. Or anti-personal, I mean. Ow! You son of a bitch! Owned! And yeah, anti-personal, assault rifle, perfect combination for a rumbler. Now then, let's test out that auto fire. And you'll quite clearly see why you should never really use this commonly, unless you're up against the group. But first, let's just see whether or not it's actually useful. Yeah, it takes these rumblers down pretty easily. But considering I'm using anti-personal, and I already went through an entire clip that fast, definitely not the wisest thing to do. So yeah, stick to single shot. To wrap things up, here's a quick demonstration between unmodified and modified. Yeah, sorry guys, I kind of made a little screw up. Apparently the 4-shot with AP is modified. Sorry about that. And modified. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of System Shock 2 Bits and Extras. See you next time.